Her husband doubted her incomparable love, but she revealed an unexpected, life-changing secret. Emma sat on the porch, the fading sun casting a warm glow over Maplewood. She sipped on her iced tea, her heart full but her mind heavy. Laughter and banter floated from nearby, where neighbors chatted about their day. Yet, beneath her crafts and cheerful smile, a storm brewed. Mike's skepticism had become a pervasive echo, casting doubt on her devotion. It gnawed at her relentless. "What good are my dreams if I can't make sure you're all taken care of?" Emma murmured to herself, clenching her palm around the cool glass. Another night of strained silence loomed as Mike came in, face lined with exhaustion from juggling 2 jobs. She hoped he'd picked up something sweet on his way home, a gesture she cherished. But as he trudged through the door, briefcase in one hand and an empty expression on his face, Emma felt her heart sink. "Dinner's almost ready," she forced a smile, her voice trembling to mask her worry. "Emma, when are you going to start focusing on what really matters? Our finances." He shot back, frustration bubbling over. It felt like ice-cold water poured over her. "You always seem wrapped up in your projects. Is your home decor more important than us?" Those words hit her like a brick. She felt unseen, as the laughter echoed from outside faded into a sharp silence. Each argument chipped away at her spirit, the warmth of her dreams overshadowed by a growing resentment. In the dead of night, she found herself in the attic, searching through boxes lined with dusty memories, each a reminder of who she once aspired to be. A stack of yellowed letters caught her eye, revealing tales of her mother's bravery as a war veteran. Letters filled with hope, sacrifice, and a fierce love that transcended hardships. Ideas surged in her mind, igniting sparks of inspiration. Could she channel her mother's resilience into something meaningful for her community? In the following weeks, she dived into a fresh project, community workshops to educate families struggling like theirs. As Emma organized meetings and created colorful flyers, she felt the tide beginning to turn. Friends in Maplewood rallied alongside her, sharing their own stories and resources. Hope blossomed and laughter returned in waves. But just when optimism shone brightest, Mike's simmering doubts erupted in another clash. "Are you serious, Emma? Are you even trying to help us?" he yelled, his voice echoing with the weight of his frustration. The tears prickled at her eyes, threatening to spill. She felt split open, bare, and exposed a crossroads where uncertainty flickered. In that electric moment she realized she had to reveal it all. "Mike," she whispered, barely able to contain herself. "I found something important." As she recounted the legacy left behind from her mother, a sudden inheritance tied to her past sacrifices, Mike's demeanor shifted. He sat breathless, processing the news. This revelation was not just a financial boon, it was a testament to love, resilience, and unity. But even as relief washed over them, a question lingered in the air. Could Mike ever see past his fears to acknowledge the true wealth they had? As doubt shadowed the edges of their newfound hope, both were left standing on the cusp of a new beginning, wondering if their love could mend the cracks laid bare in their hearts. The air in Maplewood felt different the next morning. Emma's heart raced with anticipation mixed with trepidation. She had shared her mother's legacy with Mike, and now everything hung in a delicate balance. The sun rose slowly, casting gold streaks on her kitchen walls, but her mind was elsewhere, racing through what they should do next. Mike sat at the table, just staring at his coffee, each sip seeming heavier than the last. The silence stretched painfully, like a tightrope they both teetered on. "So, what do we do now?" he finally asked, his voice unsteady, as if he were testing the waters for a deeper conversation. Emma took a deep breath. "I thought we could start small, you know? Use some of the money to help with the workshops, but we can also save. We can invest in our future and maybe even pay down some debts." She forced the smile to her lips, desperately hoping her optimism would be contagious. Mike looked up, searching her face. There was something in his eyes. Was it hope or doubt? "Workshops, how much are we really talking about here, Emma?" His pragmatic mind was clicking into gear, but the hesitation was evident. "Not a lot. Just a few supplies to get started, and maybe we could use the space at the community center." As she spoke, her enthusiasm grew. How could she express to him how much this project meant? It was more than about money. It was a bridge between their dreams and struggles. "It's not just about helping others. It's about bringing us back together too." He shifted uncomfortably in his seat. But what if it fails? I can't bear the thought of us losing you. Emma reached across the table, taking his hand. You're not losing me. We're in this together, remember? Just like my mom and dad faced everything together. They wanted to create something better, and I want that for us too. The weight of the conversation began to puncture his wall of doubt, just a little. I just can't shake off the fear, Mike admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. What if your dreams keep us from what we need here and now? You don't have to choose between love and responsibility, Emma said, squeezing his hand tighter. This can be both. We can create something beautiful while still taking care of our lives. As they exchanged these tender words, Emma felt like she had opened a door to a new realm of understanding. She needed him to see that they could build a life that honored the sacrifices of the past, while stepping boldly into the future. The walls that had once separated them seemed to crack, leaving room for light. Just then, a soft knock at the door pulled them from their moment. Emma's heart jumped. I'll get it, she said, releasing Mike's hand and moving towards the door, holding her breath. When she opened it, her neighbor Janet stood there, holding a basket of fresh muffins. I thought I'd share some fresh-baked goodness. I heard about your community project, and I want to help. The excitement in Janet's voice was infectious. As she stepped inside, Emma's heart expanded. There was a warmth in this moment, a spark of hope reigniting in her chest. Perhaps this was a sign, proof that they weren't alone on this journey. Thank you, Janet. We're just in the beginning stages, but every bit counts. Emma felt buoyed by the support, watching the way inspiration lit up Mike's features as he listened. Yet, the doubt lingered. Would this small act of kindness push Mike to embrace this dream? Or would the shadows of uncertainty pull him back? In that fleeting moment of joy, Emma felt a new tension build. Life was a delicate dance of faith, love, and fear, and they were both about to take a leap without knowing where they would land. Are you still with me? She asked Mike, catching his eye as they stepped deeper into a shared future. When he hesitated, the question loomed larger than ever. Could faith win over fear? As they turned to face the brewing excitement around them, Emma wondered, just how far would their love stretch to embrace the unknown? Emma felt her heart quicken, caught in the electricity of the moment. She could see the flicker of doubt in Mike's eyes, but she refused to let it dim her own light. Janet's warm presence filled the room with a comforting energy. She placed the basket on the table and smiled brightly at them. I believe in this project, Janet said, her enthusiasm bubbling over. You two have such passion, and I know how hard it can be to get things rolling. I'd love to volunteer my time for those workshops. Crafting is something I adore. Mike glanced from Janet to Emma, a mix of emotions swirling in the air. This was exactly the kind of support Emma had hoped for, yet Mike still seemed clouded in hesitation. Thanks, Janet, he managed, though his voice lacked the same warmth. Emma tried not to let the slight chill sting too much. Imagine a real community gathering, Mike, she urged, trying to fan the flicker of hope. We can bring people together, share skills, create connections. We don't just teach, we build friendships. Don't you want that? Yeah, but he started trailing off. It was clear the weight of his worries was still heavy. Emma could almost see him calculating risks like a chess player, assessing every possible outcome. She leaned in closer, trying to bridge the gap that seemed to widen with every moment of silence. I just need you to believe in us, in what we can achieve together. It's more than just a financial investment, it's about our future. You've seen how much the community needs this. As if reading her thoughts, Janet interjected, Emma's right. People here are looking for hope, and your project could be that beacon. With the right guidance, we can really uplift Maplewood. The spark in Janet's voice was inspiring, firing up the atmosphere again. Mike's shoulders drooped, and he sighed deeply. I know what you both are saying, but I just can't help but think about the bills, the normal stuff we're juggling. What if this drains us instead? His words hung in the air, heavy and palpable. Emma couldn't deny there was a fear hidden behind them, a fear of failure that could jeopardize not only their dreams but also their relationship. I promise we'll find a balance, she replied, a certainty threading through her words. Every project has its ups and downs. But, Mike, we have each other and we're capable of navigating through this. Remember, it's why we fell in love in the first place. We believed we could conquer anything together. For a fleeting moment, she caught a glimpse of his heart softening. The lines of worry on his face started to fade. You're right, he murmured, though a shadow of doubt still lingered in his eyes. But what if? Stop, Emma interrupted gently but firmly. Let this be our chance to heal. We've been hanging on to fears long enough. You know the way my mom and dad took risks for their dreams, how they built their legacy with love and courage. It's time we chase something similar. Just then, Emma noticed a stirring outside. The neighborhood kids were gathering by the community center, their laughter echoing in the air like a melody of fresh possibilities. In that moment, everything felt interconnected. Maybe we can start a workshop today, just a small one, to test the waters? Use the muffins as our first treat? Janet suggested gleefully, insisting on a quick brainstorm. Mike's expression flickered as if weighing a decision. She could tell he was almost there, just skimming the surface of possibilities. In that charged silence, it was clear that everything hung in the balance, like a pendulum caught between yes and no. Emma's heart thudded wildly. What do you say, Mike? Are you ready to take a step into the unknown? His eyes met hers, a dance of strength and uncertainty. The room was alive with potential, and she could feel a shift starting to happen. The future stretched out before them like an uncharted map, and she needed him to walk this path with her. As voices filled the room, Emma whispered a silent plea for him to take that leap, to embrace the uncertain journey ahead. What if Mike found the courage to trust in her vision, not just for their own future, but for the entire community? Just then a loud crash interrupted their moment, a delivery truck backing up too swift, and in an instant their world teetered once more. Emma gasped, glancing toward the sound. What was that? Mike asked, his instincts sharpening. I don't know, Emma replied, her pulse racing again. But somehow, I have a feeling this is just the beginning. Emma's heart raced as she turned towards the door, the sound of the crash echoing through the community center. She hadn't expected this twist. The buzzing energy of hope they had just begun to build felt fragile now, as if a tempest could sweep everything away. Let us check it out, Mike said, his voice suddenly tense. Emma saw the protective look in his eyes. In that moment, he was her rock again, the man who had always cared. Cutting through the fog of uncertainty, they stepped outside, the warm sun momentarily blinding them. The delivery truck stood on the side, its back doors swinging open. Boxes tumbled out, spilling craft supplies everywhere. A rainbow of colors splashed across the gray pavement. Emma glimpsed tape, ribbons, and the leafy greens of artificial plants, all set free from their confines. Muffins and craft supplies? She murmured, breathless. This wasn't a coincidence. Mike studied the mess with a deep frown. Do you think they'll come back to pick this up? Who cares? Janet chimed in, excitement in her voice as she hurried outside to help gather the items. Look at all this stuff. This could be our first workshop as resources. Think of the possibilities. As they picked through the supplies, Emma could feel a flickering excitement growing inside her. This chaos had a certain magic swirling around it. Perhaps it was a sign that they should push forward, seize the moment, make it into something bigger. Look at this, she said, holding up a shining roll of glittery ribbon. What if we decorate the community center? Make it inviting? We could invite kids and families today, just like we talked about. Mike hesitated. She could see the gears turning in his head, wrestling with both concern and excitement. Part of him loved the idea, she could tell. But where was that nagging hesitation? We still don't know how it will look financially, Emma, he cautioned, a furrow in his brow. Just because we have supplies doesn't mean we can open our doors today. But what if we just start small? No pressure. Emma pleaded, her voice rising with urgency. We could share what we have and build connections. That's the heart of the project, Mike. A group of kids passed by, their laughter floating on the breeze like dandelion seeds. Their joy was infectious, and Emma felt her resolve strengthen. The kids' eagerness sparked something primal in her. As the sunlight bounced off those craft materials, she saw it clearly. A way to transform doubt into unity, to turn their dream into reality, one step at a time. Please, Mike, she added softly, meeting his gaze. We can't let fear hold us back. If we don't do it now, we may never do it. Just imagine how incredible it would be to inspire our community. Mike let out a deep sigh, scanning the scattered supplies, the carefree children, and Emma's determined expression all at once. Okay, I'm in. Let us just see where this goes. Emma's heart soared. She felt buoyed by his agreement, by the anticipation of what they could create together. But a flicker of anxiety still lingered within her. Would it be enough? Could they make a genuine impact? Awesome. Janet clapped her hands together, practically bouncing. Let us get organized, spread the word. This is our moment. They rushed back inside, grabbing markers to make colorful banners and write invitations. Emma felt electric with possibility. Time moved in an exhilarating blur. With every passing minute, hope intertwined with their hard work. But as they planned, a shadow settled deep in Emma's heart. What if this didn't work out? What if they opened the doors, only to have the weight of reality come crashing down again? Amid the excitement, the questions festered. Wait, Mike interrupted her thoughts, new worry flickering in his eyes. What if this is too rushed? What if we don't have enough to offer? Emma turned to him, her confidence wavering. What do you mean? I mean, when you say it's about more than teaching, it's about building connections. Are you sure we're up for that? Her breath caught in her throat. She had wanted to build something together, but she hadn't considered the emotional toll it could take. Just as the tension mounted, a commotion erupted outside. An emergency vehicle pulled up, sirens blaring, piercing through the evolving conversations. What now? Mike exclaimed, his hand instinctively reaching for hers. Their eyes locked, but Emma could feel a knot tightening in her chest. Was this another storm on the horizon? Or a blessing in disguise? How could they push through all this uncertainty? Was their vision strong enough to withstand whatever forces were about to unfold? With everything hanging in the balance, Emma's heart thudded louder than the sirens. There was so much at stake, and the answers felt as elusive as dreams chasing the dawn. What was she about to uncover in this next chapter of their journey? The sirens cut through the air like a knife, slicing away the fragile piece they had just managed to construct. Emma's heart raced as the emergency vehicle came to a halt, its red lights flashing ominously against the bright sky. She could feel Mike's grip on her hand tighten, his uncertainty mirroring her own. What is happening? Janet asked, her excitement fading, replaced by a growing worry. I don't know, Emma replied, squinting at the commotion outside. A group of paramedics hurriedly emerged, their faces stoic yet determined. They moved with purpose, grabbing equipment from the back of the ambulance. Just then, a figure emerged from the crowd gathering near the truck, an elderly woman, frail yet fiercely determined. Emma recognized her immediately. Mrs. Henderson, the beloved member of the community who used to lead the local quilting bee. Mrs. Henderson, she shouted, rushing toward her. The woman looked shaken, breathless. I tripped over a box, dear. Such a mess out here, she said, trying to catch her breath. Emma's relief was mixed with urgency. Are you okay? Do you need help? I'm fine, just a little bruised, Mrs. Henderson replied. But her pale face told a different story. The paramedics were already kneeling beside her, gently urging the elderly woman to sit down. Emma's heart sank. This was the last thing they needed, a disruption in their efforts, or worse, someone getting hurt. The growing crowd murmured among themselves. Some watched with concern, while others shot worried glances at Emma and Mike. With their project resting on the edge of a potential disaster, tension filled the air. We should do something, Janet said, her brow furrowing. Like what? We aren't paramedics, Mike replied, the weight of the chaos pressing down on him. Emma could see the worry growing deeper in his eyes. But she felt something stir within her, a familiar light igniting a determination she hadn't realized was there. We can't just stand here. We need to make sure everyone feels safe. Let us help however we can. Mike looked hesitant, but the look in Emma's eyes was all it took to convince him. All right, let us do this. They moved forward, stepping into the crowd that had gathered to witness the commotion. Emma took a deep breath and raised her voice above the clamor. Everyone, let us give the paramedics space. If anyone has had first aid training, please step forward. After a moment's hesitation, a young woman emerged from the back of the crowd. I can help. She rushed forward with a confidence that Emma wished she felt. Great. Can you help with Mrs. Henderson? Emma asked, nodding toward the paramedics. The woman nodded, quickly taking charge and reassuring the elderly lady as she was helped onto a stretcher. Mike stood beside Emma, the weight of uncertainty still heavy in the air. Are we making it worse? He whispered, worry etching lines on his forehead. No, Emma said firmly, though she felt a slight tremor of doubt in her own heart. We're showing people that we care. That's what this project is about. It's about community. Together, they watched as the paramedics finished stabilizing Mrs. Henderson and prepared to transport her to the hospital. A sea of watchers helped create a makeshift barrier, showing support and concern for the woman they all loved. As the ambulance door closed, Emma caught a glimpse of Mrs. Henderson giving her a thumbs up, eyes twinkling with her usual spirited resolve. She felt a wave of hope wash over her. Perhaps in a roundabout way, this was the community spirit they had sought to ignite. They turned back to the community center, uncertain but emboldened. Maybe challenges weren't just obstacles, they were chances to deepen connections. This moment could be a catalyst for something remarkable. "'Kay, what now?" Mike asked, looking to Emma with a mix of hope and nervousness. "Now we finish what we started," Emma replied, her heart pounding with a newfound resolve. Suddenly, a loud thud echoed from behind the community center, cutting their conversation short. All eyes turned as a figure stumbled out of the shadows, clutching their side, a familiar pain etched across their face. "Help! I need help!" they cried, and Emma's stomach dropped. Who could it be? And what would this new development mean for their fragile plans just as they seemed to stabilize? Emma's heart raced at the sight of the stumbling figure. A gasp rippled through the crowd as they recognized who it was. It was Tom, the local mechanic, the man known for his loud laughter and warm heart. He was always the first to lend a hand at community events, and now here he was looking worse for wear. "Tom!" Janet exclaimed, rushing forward. Emma followed closely behind, the crowd parting for them as they approached. Tom winced, his face pale, and he pressed a hand against his side. "I fell while helping with the cleanup. I think I might have pulled something," he managed, beads of sweat trickling down his forehead. "Let us get you over here," Janet urged, her voice steady but laced with concern. They guided him toward a bench under a tree, and he sank onto it, groaning softly. "Stay still," Emma said, kneeling beside him. She could feel the anxiety of the crowd pressing in, their murmurs growing louder. What if this was serious? She glanced at Mike, hoping for reassurance, but found him with furrowed brows, staring at Tom with worry. "Someone call for the paramedics again," a voice shouted from the back. No, I don't need an ambulance," Tom said quickly, shaking his head. I'll be okay. Just give me a minute." But Emma could see the distress in his eyes. "Tom, it's better to be safe. We can't take risks." She could feel her heart thudding in her chest. The last thing they needed was another emergency when they were trying to hold everything together. "Look, Emma," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I just don't want to be a burden. I was trying to help," and then he trailed off, pain flickering across his face. Emma's stomach twisted. There was more to this. Tom had always been the strong one, the dependable neighbor. She felt a surge of empathy. "You're not a burden. You're part of this community, and we support each other. Just breathe." As the commotion continued, Mike leaned in closer. What if he really needs medical attention? What if something is seriously wrong? "Then we'll deal with it together," Emma replied, squeezing Tom's hand. "You're not alone in this, Tom. We're here for you." The crowd had quieted, all eyes on the three of them. It felt like the world stood still for those few moments. Then, just as Emma was about to stand and call for help, Tom took a sharp breath and locked eyes with her. "Emma, I need to tell you something important before it's too late." Her heart sank. Was he going to confess about his own struggles, or worse, a hidden secret? "What is it?" He hesitated, and for a second Emma thought he might back down. But he took another deep breath, determination forming in his eyes. "I've been hiding something about the repair shop," he said, voice trembling. Just then, sirens wailed in the distance again, this time not for him, but another emergency across town. "Tom, please," Emma urged, feeling the time slipping away. "What is it?" "I've been working on something that could change everything for the community," he said, his voice suddenly stronger despite his pain. "But I didn't want to say anything until what?" She pressed, desperate to know more, her heart racing before he could answer. A shadow fell over them. A paramedic arrived, rushing to check Tom's injuries. The crowd surged, anxious to hear what was happening. "Stay back," the paramedic instructed, focusing on Tom as he began to assess the situation. But Emma felt a knot of anxiety twist tighter inside her. "Tom, finish. You need to tell me what you're planning," she cried, but the paramedic was already examining him. blocking her view. And just like that, their moment of revelation slipped away into uncertainty. Emma's chest tightened. Would they ever learn what Tom had to share? What could it possibly mean for their project, their community? As the whispers grew louder and the paramedic continued his work, Emma couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of something much bigger, something that might change everything for them all. What had Tom been working on? And would it bring them together, or tear them apart? Emma watched as the paramedic quickly assessed Tom's condition, her pulse quickening with each passing second. The sound of anxious whispers surrounded them, people craning their necks to catch a glimpse, all wanting to know if Tom was going to be okay. She felt trapped, suspended in a moment that was spiraling out of control. "Tom, please," she whispered again, hoping he could somehow still hear her through the noise of the crowd. The paramedic was now putting a band on Tom's arm, his face serious but calm. "You're going to be all right, Tom. Just take deep breaths," the paramedic said while checking Tom's vitals. Emma could see how hard Tom was trying to manage the pain, his body tense, but his eyes were pleading. "Emma," Tom breathed, his gaze locking onto hers, and it felt like the world lightened just a bit, even amidst the worry. "Stay with me, Tom," she insisted, kneeling closer. "Tell me what you wanted to say. What were you going to share?" He struggled for words, his breath coming out in shaky bursts. It was as if the pain was clawing at him, dragging every confession deeper into the shadows. Later, after he gasped again, and Emma felt another wave of urgency wash over her. The paramedic was moving into a more serious phase of his assessment, but she needed to know. "Tom, think about the community," she urged, her voice rising above the murmurs. "If you've got something to tell, now is the time." Tom winced, squeezing his eyes shut for a moment, and the crowd shifted uneasily in response. She could feel her heart pounding in her throat. Drifting away from her thoughts, a sudden wave of anger bubbled up, not at Tom but at how unpredictably fragile life could be. "Emma," he forced out, his voice softer now through the pain, "what I have is it could save the shop. It could bring us back our spirit." The paramedic turned to glance at her, a look of concern in his eyes. "We need to get him stabilized," he said, but in that moment a realization hit Emma like a ton of bricks. This wasn't just about Tom. It was about all of them, about what Tom's dreams could mean for their community. Suddenly, the crowd gasped collectively as a new figure emerged from the edge of the park. Mayor Jenkins, his face stern and serious. "What's going on here?" he demanded, pushing through the gathering. Emma's heart sank upon seeing him. Mayor Jenkins was known for his tough love for the community, but today he seemed more concerned with the mess than the people that made it whole. "It's Tom!" Emma yelled, her emotions spilling over. "He was trying to help, but something is wrong, and he has a message for all of us." The mayor's expression softened slightly as he looked at Tom and then back at her. "What's this about a message?" he asked, tone turning cautious. Tom was working on something, a plan for the repair shop. "Something that could make things right again for our town," Emma explained, her voice shaky but passionate. Mayor Jenkins hesitated, the weight of the situation settling in. Was there something to what Tom had been trying to hint at before he fell? Was it truly about rebuilding their community spirit? Tom managed a weak smile. "I wanted to make it a hub, a place to help everyone come together." Emma stole a glance at Mike, who was listening intently, brows furrowed with curiosity. The crowd stood in tense silence while the paramedic wrapped up his work. "Just hold on, Tom," Emma whispered, squeezing his hand tighter. "We need to hear the rest. We need your vision." Just then, a loud commotion erupted a few yards away, distracting everyone momentarily as an unexpected storm approached, dark clouds rolling in overhead. The air seemed to electrify, casting an unsettling shadow over them. The crowd's focus shifted, but Emma remained locked on Tom, desperate to hear more. What was the vision? And could it be enough to heal not just the repair shop, but the community as a whole? As the first drops of rain began to fall, another voice emerged from the crowd, a familiar face, the old librarian, Gloria, pushing her way through the gathering. "Everyone, I know what Tom has been working on," she called out. Emma's heart raced again. What did Gloria know? What was about to happen? Gloria's voice cut through the tension like a knife. The crowd turned their attention toward her, curiosity igniting amid the stormy atmosphere. Emma felt a tightening in her chest. Gloria had always been a source of wisdom and warmth in their town. If she had knowledge of Tom's plans, it could change everything. Tom, Gloria began, her eyes shifting between him and the crowd. For weeks now, he's been working on a blueprint for a community center. A place not just for repairs, but for gathering, for events, for everyone in our town to come together again. Emma leaned closer to Tom, willing him to listen. The paramedic was still focused, but she could see Tom's face shifting, interest mixed with pain. Tom, this could be everything, she urged, squeezing his hand again. A center for our community means hope. It's what we need right now, right? The rain picked up, drops drumming on the ground like the heartbeats of everyone present, the air thick with anticipation. Tom, Gloria continued, warmth radiating from her despite the growing storm. You envisioned a space for creativity, for laughter, a garden, classes, shared meals. It's the spirit of our town, woven into brick and mortar. Tom tried to nod, though it was evident how exhausting it was for him. Emma's heart ached. We need to hear more, Tom. We're here for you. With effort, Tom breathed deeply, straining against the pain. It would help us heal. Together he managed each word a struggle. The shop, it's more than just repairs. It's about memories, connections. A gasp of hope rippled through the crowd. Moments of resilience flickered in the air, like the first streaks of sunlight breaking through the clouds. And Tom paused, pain crossing his features, but determination ignited something in his eyes. I want it to include everyone. For it to be a reminder that we're never alone. Tom, Emma exclaimed, her voice raw with emotion. We can do this together. We can rally the community, bring people back to help create this space. But just then, a particularly fierce wind howled through the park, blowing rain sideways and causing the crowd to shuffle uncomfortably. Mayor Jenkins stepped closer, brows knitted together. If that's true, we have to act fast. We can't lose sight of a vision like this. His tone surprised Emma, hinting at something she had not expected. Maybe he realized how vital Tom's idea truly was. Suddenly, Gloria added, I have the resources, connections with local businesses. We can fundraise, throw events, get the community involved. Her voice rang with certainty, and more murmurs erupted from the audience. The paramedic glanced at Tom, assessing his condition before announcing, we really need to take him to the hospital now. Panic surged through Emma at the thought of losing Tom even for a moment. No, wait. We're onto something here. Please just let him stay a moment longer. But with urgency, the paramedic gently started to lift Tom onto the stretcher, forcing Emma's hand to let go. Despair gripped her heart, knowing that separating from him felt like losing a part of herself. Tom looked into her eyes, his expression fierce yet fragile. Promise me you'll make this happen no matter what. Of course, Emma cried, determination threading through her voice as she felt a new burden settle upon her shoulders. They were no longer just fighting for Tom. They were fighting for their community's hope. As the paramedics wheeled Tom away, Emma felt the storm's fury matched by the charged atmosphere among the townsfolk. Determination began to blossom in every heart. But amid this newfound resolve, a question lingered. Would they be able to turn Tom's vision into reality without losing the fragile threads binding them together? Would hope be enough to see them through the challenges ahead as the storm raged on? In that moment of uncertainty, the realization struck: this would be a fight not just for the shop, but for the very soul of their community. Would they rise together? Or would fear tear them apart? Emma stood at the edge of the park, rain soaking her hair, but she hardly noticed. Her heart thudded in her chest like a war drum. Tom was gone, whisked away on that stretcher, and now the weight of hope rested heavily on her shoulders. The crowd murmured around her, a blend of uncertainty and determination, the rain beating down but their spirits not easily drowned. Did you see him? He actually believed in it, Gloria exclaimed, her excitement infectious. She moved closer to Emma, her eyes sparkling with thought. We can make this work. It's what he would want. It's what this town needs. Yet doubt gnawed at Emma's insides. Could they really pull this off? She looked around at familiar faces: the bakery owner, the librarian, the school coach. They wore expressions of resolve, but did they know the depth of what it would take? Gloria took Emma's hand, squeezing it tight. We're an army of determination. Remember what Tom said about connections? We've all been through so much. Let us create something that heals not just Tom but all of us. Right, Emma agreed, trying to match Gloria's fervor. But as voices swirled around her, A sudden chill ran down her spine. Not everyone would share their vision. A small part of the community had resisted change before, clinging to old ideas. Could they truly unite? Before she could voice her fears, Mayor Jenkins approached, his brows still furrowed in thought. "Emma, can we have a word?" He led her to the side, away from the crowd. "What is it?" she asked, a lump forming in her throat. "We need to be strategic about this. If we want to win Tom's idea, we have to portray it correctly." He hesitated, choosing his words. Some folks would see this as another burden on the town. A wave of frustration hit Emma. "We can't let that keep us from trying. Tom believes it's essential and I'm going to fight for him." "I know," Jenkins said. "But we need to gather real support. I'm willing to help, but we need to show them the potential, maybe even secure some funding. But it could take time." "Time," Emma murmured, her heart weighing heavy again. What if time is something we don't have? Every minute matters. The trepidation in the mayor's eyes made her stomach churn. Jenkins took a deep breath. "Let us rally tonight. Town hall meeting. Spread the word. We need everyone to know. I believe if Tom can see this community unite. But it has to start here." Emma nodded, a spark of hope ignited. "I'll organize it. We can show them the blueprint, energize everyone." As they returned to the crowd, Emma felt a shift in herself. The fear that had held her back was transforming into something more powerful, a fierce resolve. "Everyone," she called, her voice cutting through the raindrops. "We're organizing a town hall meeting tonight. To discuss Tom's vision. It's time to unite for something that matters." The crowd responded with murmurs of approval, gaining momentum like leaves caught in a gust of wind. Emma's heart swelled as she gazed at her neighbors rallying together. This could be the moment they turned dreams into action. As the storm began to ease, so too did Emma's dread. She had a purpose now, but the road ahead wouldn't be easy. What if those who disagreed showed up to protest? What if town politics tore their plans apart? Just as Emma prepared to gather her courage, a familiar figure emerged from the horizon. A shadow lingering just out of reach, filled with uncertainty. Fear struck painfully at her core. It was Rebecca, Tom's old friend and harborer of secrets. And in her eyes, Emma saw doubt. How could they face this looming confrontation? Would Rebecca want to join them? Or would she be the storm that threatened to break everything apart? Emma stood tall as Rebecca approached, the tension in the air palpable. The raindrops had begun to soften, but the weight of uncertainty hung heavily on Emma's shoulders. Would Rebecca offer support, or would she bring the very doubts Emma had been battling? "Emma," Rebecca said, her voice steady yet laced with something Emma struggled to interpret. "I heard about what happened with Tom. Are you all right?" There was a sincerity in her eyes, but Emma sensed a foundation of caution beneath her words. "I'm okay," Emma replied, rallying her strength. "But more importantly, we need to talk about Tom's vision and how it can change our community." She gestured to the small crowd gathering behind her, each face reflecting a mix of hope and trepidation. Rebecca's expression shifted from concern to contemplation. Emma could see the gears turning in her mind. "This project, it's not that simple. You realize there are many who are skeptical, don't you?" Emma's heart raced. "I do, but it's about so much more than just a building or a repair shop. It's about healing and connection. This town is strong if we stand together." "Isn't that what you believe too?" "That's idealistic," Rebecca countered gently, her brow furrowing. "You can't just wish things to change. Some will resist change, frightens people." "I understand, but if we don't fight for Tom's dream, we risk losing not just his vision, but what our community stands for," Emma replied, energy flooding her voice as determination welled up inside her. "Let us gather everyone tonight. By showing them Tom's dream, maybe we can inspire understanding." Rebecca's expression softened. "I want to believe in that, Emma. I truly do. But we need everyone on board, including those who doubted us in the past." Just then a familiar voice boomed from the crowd. "What if we find common ground? We need to pull together for Tom, for Maplewood." It was Janet, and Emma's heart soared at her conviction. Rebecca's gaze shifted to the speaker as whispers flowed through the crowd. "Perhaps we can start with those already on our side or those on the fence. See if we can sway them toward change." "Yes. If we can build a foundation of trust, it could foster unity," Emma said, a spark of excitement igniting within. Soon the sun began to peek through the clouds, illuminating the group standing before them. Emma felt the weight of hope urging her forward. Their previous doubts about Tom's vision could morph into something transformative for the entire community, if only they could rally everyone together. "All right," Rebecca conceded, her eyes shimmering with renewed determination. "I'll help you. Let us draft a plan that includes everyone's voice, ensuring this serves the community's best interests." Emma flashed a grateful grin. "Thank you. We're going to make it work. Together." As they forged ahead, excitement filled Emma's chest, and nervousness danced about. But for the first time it felt possible. The townsfolk behind them buzzed with potential, their energies merging together, a chorus of voices ready to unite for the greater good. Night fell softly over Maplewood, casting stars against the charcoal sky, and the town hall filled with neighbors, eager faces illuminated by candlelight. Emma stood at the front, heart racing, adrenaline surging through her. This moment, this gathering was everything. "Welcome, everyone. We're here tonight not just for Tom but for the love of this community. His dream could bring us all together, creating a space of healing, of hope." Her words landed as a heartbeat, the crowd pulsating with shared sentiment as she shared the sketches of Tom's ideas. Emma felt strength swell in their reactions, excitement flickering like electricity through the room. The air crackled with possibility. Families leaned in closer, sparked by tales of potential workshops, laughter echoing through renewed connections. When Rebecca rose to speak, Emma held her breath. "What Tom has begun is just the start. We must build and nurture the relationships in this town. It won't be easy, but together we can do this. Let us advocate for Tom's vision one step at a time." The crowd erupted in applause, shouts of agreement resonating in the hall. Emma's heart swelled, tears of joy pooling as hope washed over her. Little by little more voices joined in. Neighbors shared their stories, their dreams, and suddenly the seeds of community bloomed into a lush garden. Connections were made, hands were raised, and with unwavering resolve, they established committees, gathered materials, and envisioned a brighter future. Days turned into weeks, conversations turned into planning, and soon Maplewood transformed. Every bit of energy, every moment of doubt, had paved the way to an unshakable foundation for hope. As Emma stood among the laughter and camaraderie blooming in the town square, she turned to Mike, who caught her gaze with a radiant smile. "You were right," he said, his voice low yet full of warmth. "This is more than just a project. It's about who we are together." Together. It was a word that resonated deeply within the community, echoing through every new connection. The walls that had once felt heavy and cold were now vibrant with life, promise, and love. In the end, it wasn't just the plans for the community center that mattered, it was the heart stitched together by hope and the belief in one another. Maplewood had proven that it was never too late to embrace transformation, that love was indeed as powerful as the storms they faced. With full hearts and radiant smiles, they forged ahead hand in hand, ready to face whatever came their way. Together. Now that you've witnessed this incredible transformation and powerful conclusion, you need to subscribe immediately to our channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and ensure even more folks can experience these journeys of hope. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about the ending. It matters. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Real fans understand how vital your support is, so join us on this remarkable journey.